The ferry drifted steadily across the endless stretch of deep blue water, its engines humming softly beneath the feet of the passengers. The late afternoon sun hovered low on the horizon, scattering golden reflections across the gentle waves. A cool maritime breeze brushed against Adrian Cole's face as he stood on the deck, hands in his pockets, looking out at the distant line where sea touched sky. Adrian Cole, one of the most accomplished businessmen in the country, the CEO of a billion-dollar empire, rarely enjoyed moments like this. He lived in a world of deadlines, negotiations, investors, numbers, and relentless responsibility. Yet today, for a brief moment, he had stepped away from conference rooms and board meetings, seeking a little silence from the chaos that ruled his life. But peace was a luxury he wasn't used to. Behind him, the shuffle of small wheels cut through the soft sound of waves hitting the ferry's sides. He didn't turn, assuming it was just another passenger moving around. Then came a soft, gentle voice, almost hesitant but filled with a strange innocence that made him pause. "Sir, can you lift me up to see the sky?" Adrian blinked, taken aback. Slowly he turned. A little girl sat in a wheelchair, no older than 7 or 8. Her hair danced slightly in the breeze and her small hands rested on the armrests of her chair. But what struck him most wasn't her wheelchair nor her tiny frame, it was her eyes. They were bright, full of wonder, full of life. There was no hint of sadness, no feeling of limitation, only hope. Her name tag, likely given out by the ferry staff, read Lily. For a moment, Adrian didn't know what to say. He had been asked countless questions in his life, questions about business, contracts, success, money, yet none of them had ever felt as heavy or as meaningful as this simple request. He glanced around, no one else seemed close enough. She really was talking to him. "Me," he said softly, pointing toward himself. Lily nodded, smiling shyly. "Yes, I want to see the sky properly from up high. I can't see it well from down here." Adrian looked over at the deck's railing. To an adult, it barely reached the chest, but to someone seated so low, it would block almost all the view of the open horizon. He swallowed hard. In all his years of success, he had never encountered a moment like this. He wasn't used to being vulnerable, being human, being needed. But something about Lily's voice touched a part of him he had forgotten even existed. And for the first time in a very long time, Adrian Cole hesitated, not out of annoyance but out of emotion he didn't understand. Her question was so small. Yet somehow, it shook him more than anything he'd heard in years. The air on the ferry thickened with a strange stillness as the passengers around Adrian started to take notice. Some slowed their conversations, some paused mid-step, others simply stared quietly, sensing something unusual stirring in the ordinary rhythm of their journey. A powerful CEO in an immaculate suit, and a fragile little girl in a wheelchair. Two worlds that weren't meant to meet, yet somehow here they were. Lily waited patiently, her smile unbroken, her hands still resting gently on her wheelchair's sides. Something about her calmness made Adrian feel even more unsettled. Not in a bad way, just unfamiliar. He lived in a world where people usually approached him with fear, respect, or greed, but this little girl had looked at him as if he were just a person who could help. Adrian glanced at her again, then at the sky above them. It was a breathtaking shade of blue, scattered with soft clouds drifting lazily overhead. A sky he had seen 1,000 times but never thought twice about. A sky she couldn't see properly from where she was. He realized then how easy it was for him, how effortless. He could look up any moment he wanted. He had legs strong enough to take him anywhere, hands free from limitations, a life with access to everything. And yet, he had never appreciated any of it. Adrian slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. A reflex, a habit, a shield. The device buzzed with incoming notifications, emails, reports, missed calls, reminders of the world constantly demanding more from him. He stared at the glowing screen. Then, for the first time in years, he pressed the power button and turned it completely off. A murmur swept across the deck. People watched with widened eyes. A CEO, famous for never switching off his phone, had just silenced his world for a little girl he had known for less than a minute. Adrian took a slow breath and knelt down, bringing himself to Lily's level. The movement felt heavy, symbolic, as if he were lowering himself from the throne of power he'd always stood on. "You want to see the sky?" he asked, his voice softening despite himself. Lily nodded eagerly. "I've never seen it without the railing in front of me. I want to see the whole thing all at once." Adrian felt something break inside him, a thin wall he didn't know he had been carrying for years. He had filled his life with skyscrapers, luxury cars, expensive hotels, award-winning buildings, and floors of glass windows that overlooked cities. But when was the last time he had admired a simple sky? He didn't remember. For the first time in years, something shook inside him, not fear, not stress. Humanity. Real, raw, honest emotion. And it came not from $1 million deal, but from a tiny request made by a little girl in a wheelchair. A quiet hush fell over the deck as Adrian slid one arm beneath Lily's knees and the other behind her back. She weighed almost nothing, lighter than he expected, fragile yet steady in her own way. He lifted her carefully, making sure her head rested gently against his shoulder. Gasps spread throughout the crowd. Passengers exchanged glances. Some smiled softly, others felt their eyes sting with unexpected emotion. Smartphones lowered, conversations stopped, even the waves seemed to quiet as if respecting the moment. Adrian stood tall, holding Lily securely. He felt her small hands clutch his shirt gently, not from fear but excitement. A spark of joy radiated from her tiny body, warming him more than the sun above ever could. "Are you ready?" he whispered. She nodded against his shoulder, yes. He turned so she faced the open horizon. The moment she saw it, her breath caught. The sky stretched endlessly before her, vast, open, limitless. Shades of blue blended with the last golden sparks of afternoon light. Soft clouds drifted lazily, painting pictures across the heavens. A seagull soared overhead, gliding effortlessly across the breeze. Lily's lips parted in awe. "It's so big," she whispered, "and beautiful." Her eyes glistened with pure wonder, reflecting the sky that had once been hidden from her view. Adrian felt something inside him crack wide open. He didn't know why it hurt, he didn't know why it healed. All he knew was that tears, hot, unstoppable tears, rolled silently down his face as Lily gazed upward with innocence untouched by the world. In that single moment, Adrian realized the truth. He had spent his entire life chasing success, thinking the world was something to conquer, something to buy, something to build over. He had seen the world from private jets, luxury penthouses, and exclusive sky lounges. But he had never truly felt it. Not like this. Not like her. Lily looked down at him and smiled, a pure, simple smile that carried more meaning than a lifetime of achievements. "Thank you," she said softly. "No one ever lifted me like this before." Her words hit him harder than any criticism, any failure, any loss he had ever experienced. Because in her gratitude, he heard something he had forgotten. The world wasn't just about rising high. Sometimes it was about lifting others higher. And for the first time in his life, Adrian felt small in the best, most beautiful way possible. When Adrian slowly lowered Lily back into her wheelchair, he did so with the same gentleness one would use to set down something fragile and precious. He ensured she was comfortable, adjusting the footrests and pushing back a strand of hair that the wind had blown across her forehead. Lily looked up at him, her smile still bright, still full of warmth. But Adrian felt a heaviness in his chest, an emotion he couldn't fully name. It was part sadness, part realization, part a powerful urge to change something, maybe himself. He bent down so he was eye level with her again. "Did you like it?" he asked softly. She nodded eagerly. "I loved it. I never knew the sky could feel so big." She paused as if searching for the right words. "It made me feel big too." That hit him harder than anything else. All her life she had been seated low, limited by height, by barriers, by circumstances beyond her control. One simple lift had shown her a world she had never fully seen before. Adrian swallowed, his throat tightening. From the inside of his suit jacket, he pulled out a sleek, elegant business card, his professional identity, the card that opened doors in every industry. But instead of handing it to her the way he would to a client or partner, he turned it over and scribbled something on the back. A number, a name, a place. Then he placed it gently in Lily's hands. "I'm going to make sure you see the sky every single day," he said, his voice firm with a promise he fully intended to keep. Lily blinked. "Every day." "Yes, I have a building in the city, a tall one. On the top floor there's a rooftop garden. Flowers, benches, open sky, no railings blocking your view. From today, it's yours whenever you want. I'll arrange transportation, care, anything you need. Her eyes sparkled. Really, for me? For you, he confirmed, placing a hand over his heart. Because you reminded me of something important today, something I forgot long ago. She tilted her head. What did I remind you? That the world isn't beautiful because of what we build. He paused, breathing out slowly. It's beautiful because of moments like this, because of people like you. Lily's smile grew wider, brighter, more radiant than the sky above them. She reached out and wrapped her small fingers around his hand. You're a good man, she said softly. No one had said that to Adrian Cole in years. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by the sea, the sunset, and a child's innocent gratitude, he felt richer than he had ever felt in his entire life. Not because of money, not because of success, but because he had discovered the one gift he never knew he needed. A reason to be human again.